Writing has become my therapy. It has been an escape. It has also turned into such a positive thing. I'm finally helping others. I'm finally speaking out, and I'm finally gaining the confidence I always longed for. Speaking out this time, I had such a completely different response. I received nothing but positivity. What I don't understand is why. Why is it that it takes me having something visible on my body for people to be there? For people to take time to try and understand, for people to sympathize. I am proud of my ileostomy bag. I've fought not to let myself get dragged back down. I've kept my head high, and I've realized that I'm lucky to have the body I do. I've put my body through so much harm throughout my life, and it's time I looked after it. It's time I appreciated it. My scars show my strength, and my bag is something I wear with pride. It saved my life. It's funny how we judge people by what we see. Just because I wasn't stereotypically of a certain body image, I was an attention seeker. Just because I wasn't stereotypically of a certain body image, I was an attention seeker, not somebody who had really struggled in a fight against herself. And just because we don't have wheelchairs, IBD sufferers are glared at for using disabled toilets. We are known as having a hidden disability. Why don't we ever realize that maybe there's more than what meets the eye? Absolutely. And I think, because of the body parts involved, that's where a lot of the shame and shaming. We might feel shame, but we have other people who want us to feel ashamed because of, needing to use the bathroom, having to be careful about what, you eat when you're at work or in public, people not understanding that you really have to step away, and you might actually have to change your underwear and your pants. I definitely have friends who struggle with IBS and Crohn's and, the sort of dietary restrictions that can have such a huge psychological effect, but also the physical effect, right? I don't know one person socially who has an ileostomy or colostomy bag that has shared that with me. I have relatives, I have, friends who've had to have, surgery in the backyard, right? Surgery in the front yard because of viral infections that are, socially transmitted. And it's quite something to have people trust you enough to share that with you. But, I definitely know of a prominent actress who had the backdoor issues very seriously. It required the removal of the door itself, and if not the whole large intestine, something like that. But she did not want the optics of having a colostomy or ileostomy bag. And that, unfortunately, led to her losing her life because of, you have to remove. Anyway, doctors and scientists know more about it than I can say. But I just think it's a very, it's an unsung journey that obviously is very widespread. But again, if it wasn't having to do with bathroom and lower body and certain body part issues, it wouldn't be treated as such a source of shame, something to be hidden, paraphrased about, not quite coming out to say it. Everybody needs to grow up, right? There's so many people. It's like all those commercials for urinary incontinence or adult diapers, right? Even discussions about one or more of our presidents having to wear certain kinds of lower body protection because, of, I'm sure, a loss of medical, what is it called, continence, right? But this is what happens, if you're lucky enough to make it to 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, right? You're going to be taking care of your parents and elders, and sometimes diapers and colostomy, ileostomy, all sorts of other things are necessary, even while people are able to walk around. Maybe, there might be mental or brain effects that go with it, but it's a journey that, we're all going to make eventually. And it's not something to clown people over, but it definitely, I think, can be a wake-up call, right? You hear about your friends going through it, and you hear about your, elders, family members, all of that. Like, this is all part of the human journey. I definitely appreciate, this blog and other sort of information about, when you restrict your diet, there can be like long-term devastating impacts on the whole body, right? According to the Schoen Clinic Group, long-term physical effects can include electrolyte imbalance, particularly potassium, right? That's why it's so important to eat, bananas and things like that. You can have chronic fatigue, which can make it difficult for you to work, loss or disruption of your monthly cycle, bone weakness, right? Electrolytes can be replenished with, salts in certain drinks like Pedialyte, just to regulate hydration. This can also affect nerve and muscle function. Um, you know, just the notion of staying hydrated in California because it's the desert, like it's such a, that's why we have all these like expensive, trendy water bottles, because you need it. You cannot leave the house and not have water. And if you can't get water, like people will break people's windows just because there's a bottle of water inside. Like that's how, kind of significant and critical it can be. A long-term pattern of eating restriction leaves the body's electrolytes in a persistent imbalance with the risk of effects on heart and kidney function. Potassium is an electrolyte, also classified as a mineral, which is often depleted by, sort of eating and related patterns, and is particularly important for heart function. People restricting should have a test of potassium levels and receive a supplement if required, because low potassium levels can cause irregular heart rhythms and breakdown of heart tissue fibers. Wow. Other long-term physical effects of eating restriction and potential risks include monthly cycle disruption, associated fertility problems, chronic fatigue caused by the constant depletion of nutrients during restriction activities is also a risk, together with future problems with bone health due to loss of calcium, tooth decay. There's gastrointestinal effects, whether that's from not being able to keep your food down, laxative usage, or diuretic usage. There can be gastrointestinal bleeding and reflux. It can be brought on by, all these kinds of restricting and correcting behaviors. The esophagus relaxes and it makes it simple for the contents of the stomach to, kind of move around in unnatural ways. An individual may find that if this happens a lot, if they lean over or they burp, for instance, it can lead to, just the parts of the digestive tract can lose their integrity, right? Just like there can be uncontrolled bladder effect, with the digestive tract. There can also be other kinds of disruption. It can become severe, leading to ruptured esophagus, electrolyte abnormalities, and dependence on laxatives are common. And in some cases, the colon may extend and weaken as a result, leading to chronic constipation. We certainly hear about that, and a lot of supplements being advertised on all these different social media platforms. In extreme cases, some people have permanently lost their bowel function and must use a colostomy bag for the rest of their lives, right? It's not nothing, right? If you've had dance teachers who've encouraged you to, do things to achieve a certain body image, right? It can affect your mood and your personality. It can lead to acting impulsively, can lead to excessive or, drinking or substance